The courtroom was supposed to be calm that morning. Routine hearings, another legal delay, maybe a few reporters in the back taking notes. But when Lil Durk walked in, the energy shifted. Within minutes, what should have been a standard proceeding turned into absolute chaos. Whispers started spreading through the gallery like wildfire. Someone from his own bloodline had allegedly been caught cooperating with prosecutors, and this time, it wasn't just a rumor from a random blog. It was unfolding inside the courtroom in real time. Witnesses described the tension as unreal. Attorneys started huddling. Durk's entourage exchanged heated looks, and the judge reportedly had to call for order multiple times as people in the crowd reacted. This wasn't just another court date. This was the moment everyone feared, the loyalty code being broken from within. The idea that someone tied to Durk by family blood might have turned on him sent shockwaves through not only the courtroom but the entire rap industry. Fans are calling it the biggest betrayal Durk has ever faced. The streets are talking. Industry insiders are scrambling. And everyone's asking the same question. Who flipped and what did they say? Buckle up, because what went down inside that courtroom is messier, louder, and far more explosive than anyone expected. The moment Lil Durk entered the courtroom that morning, people said it felt like a storm rolling in before anyone had a chance to grab cover. Reporters were already whispering about new filings. Fans had gathered outside with signs, and even the security guards were unusually tense. Nobody knew exactly what was about to happen, but everyone could feel something was off. The case had been dragging for months, delays, motions, legal maneuvers, but this hearing was supposed to be routine. Just another step toward what many expected to be a long, brutal trial. But then, like a grenade in a quiet room, news started spreading through the courthouse halls. A member of Durk's own bloodline had allegedly been caught cooperating with prosecutors. At first, people didn't believe it. "No way," one fan muttered as she scrolled through her phone in the hallway. "Family don't do that to Durk." But then a few reporters rushed out of the courtroom doors, phones pressed to their ears, whispering frantically to their editors. That's when everyone knew something big had cracked open. Inside, Durk sat next to his lawyers, wearing a dark suit, eyes locked on the judge's bench. His usual calm demeanor was still there, but witnesses say there was something different in his eyes that day, a kind of focused fury. Behind him, members of OTF filled the gallery, some nodding respectfully, others fidgeting nervously. Then it happened. A prosecutor approached the bench with a sealed envelope and whispered something to the judge. The judge frowned, called both legal teams up, and after a few tense minutes, the courtroom microphones picked up the words, "The cooperating individual statement has been entered into the record." Those few words changed the entire room. Gasps, whispers. A few OTF members reportedly stood up in shock. The judge had to bang the gavel multiple times to restore order. But the energy had already shifted. The once solid wall of loyalty surrounding Lil Durk suddenly looked like it had cracks. What made it worse was that this wasn't some nameless affiliate or distant associate. According to whispers from people sitting near the prosecution table, this was family. Someone who shared Durk's bloodline. "Yo, that's crazy. Ain't no way blood flipped," one guy was heard saying just outside the courthouse doors. Another added, "If this is true, it's over. You can't come back from that." As the judge went over the new documents, Durk's legal team, led by his high-powered attorney Marcus Hill, asked for a recess. They looked blindsided. Meanwhile, the prosecution side looked quietly confident. One assistant prosecutor even leaned back with a small grin, as if they'd just played their trump card. The tension thickened when the judge announced that the identity of the cooperating individual would remain sealed for now, for their safety and the integrity of the investigation. But that only made things worse. Outside the courthouse, speculation went into overdrive. Fans, bloggers, YouTubers, everyone wanted to know who had flipped. By noon, #WhoFlipped was trending on Twitter. One tweet read, "The courtroom erupted today. Lil Durk's family member allegedly cooperating with prosecutors. Streets saying it's someone close." Another tweet with 100K likes simply said, "Loyalty is officially dead." As the break was called, Durk stood up slowly. He didn't speak. He didn't make a scene. But witnesses describe him as stone cold, his jaw clenched tight. He turned briefly toward the gallery where family and friends sat, and for a split second, the mask slipped. His eyes scanned the rows, and people swear they saw suspicion flicker across his face. Behind him, his brother D-Thang Jr., not to be confused with the late D-Thang, shifted uncomfortably. His cousin Keon, usually loud and confident, kept his head down. And a few other family members whispered frantically to each other, as if trying to figure out what just happened. Someone in that row knows something. A courtroom observer told reporters afterward. You could feel it. The energy changed. Meanwhile, outside, industry insiders were watching like hawks. One exec, speaking anonymously, told a gossip page, "If someone from inside really flipped, it's going to send shockwaves through the business. People will distance themselves fast. Brands don't like uncertainty, and this is the kind of thing that can get ugly quickly." Inside, when the court reconvened, things got even stranger. The prosecutor hinted, without naming names, that the cooperating individual had direct knowledge of conversations and actions relevant to the central conspiracy charges. That statement landed like a hammer. It wasn't just that someone flipped. It was that they knew things. Real things. Potentially damaging things. And if that's true, it means prosecutors aren't bluffing. They have someone from inside the house ready to talk. Durk's lawyer, Marcus Hill, immediately challenged the prosecution's claims. "We have yet to see the substance of any alleged statement," he said firmly. "We will challenge the credibility of any so-called cooperating witness." These kinds of tactics are designed to create media narratives, not justice. But the prosecutor simply replied, "The defense will have ample opportunity to cross-examine when the time comes." And that was that. A single line that made everyone realize this wasn't a rumor. This was real. Someone in the family was talking. Back in the gallery, you could practically hear the mental math happening. OTF members looking at each other, wondering who could have done it. A few looked toward the door, others kept their heads down. And fans inside the courtroom reportedly started murmuring names under their breath, like they were piecing together a puzzle. By the time the hearing ended, the courthouse was surrounded by cameras, bloggers, and fans. Durk exited quickly, flanked by security, not answering questions. His face was expressionless, but the video clips that circulated online showed his fists clenched and his stride faster than usual. One TMZ-style gossip blog captioned their clip, "Lil Durk leaves court furious after prosecutors reveal a family member is allegedly cooperating." It racked up millions of views in hours. The entire situation wasn't just legal anymore, it was emotional. This was betrayal on a level that hit deeper than rap beefs or industry politics. This was family, blood, and for someone like Durk, whose entire identity has been built on loyalty and trust, this was a punch to the gut. In the hours that followed, Instagram lives popped up with people claiming they know who it is. Some accused distant cousins. Others pointed fingers at close associates who had family ties. Nobody had proof, but that didn't stop the internet from running wild. One viral TikTok claimed to have decoded a secret clue in Durk's cousin's recent Instagram caption. Another video broke down seating arrangements in the courtroom, claiming whoever looked nervous is the one who flipped. It was chaotic, and amid all this, Durk remained silent. No statements, no cryptic tweets, just silence, which, in some ways, made the storm even louder. Because when Durk doesn't speak, the internet fills in the blanks for him, and that's exactly what started happening. The courtroom may have emptied out that afternoon, but the real explosion started the moment the doors shut behind Lil Durk and his entourage. Outside, camera flashes lit up like lightning. Reporters screamed questions. Fans shouted his name. But Durk didn't say a word. His silence only made the speculation worse. Within an hour, blogs were on fire. Anonymous sources close to the case started feeding details to gossip pages. One post from a popular street blog claimed, "Insider from Durk's bloodline caught on tape giving statements to prosecutors. Identity sealed." For now. That "for now" sent chills through the fan base. A few hours later, a leaked court filing blurry and partially redacted surfaced online. It didn't name the cooperating witness, but it referenced Individual C, a person with familial ties to the defendant, and first-hand knowledge of conversations and arrangements relevant to the conspiracy. Twitter and TikTok detectives went into overdrive. People started dissecting every name connected to Durk's family, looking for clues. Hashtags like #IndividualC and #who flipped top trending charts. Some fans claimed to have seen Durk's cousin Keon leave the courthouse through a side exit. Others said they spotted D-Thang Jr. acting nervous during the hearing. There was no proof, but that didn't matter. In this era, speculation moves faster than facts. One particularly viral video came from a Chicago-based blogger who claimed, "In a shaky IG live, I ain't gonna say names, but y'all know who used to always be in the background, always quiet. Watch him." His chat exploded with guesses, and within minutes, multiple fan pages were confidently naming Keon as the alleged Individual C. By nightfall, a major twist hit. A leaked audio clip began circulating online. It was short, barely 14 seconds, but the voice, which some claimed belonged to a member of Durk's extended family, could be heard saying something about "they asked me what I knew," followed by muffled audio that ended abruptly. The clip spread like wildfire, despite lawyers on both sides declining to comment on its authenticity. Fans were split right down the middle. Some said, "This is clearly edited. Y'all doing too much." Others insisted, "You can't fake that voice." He flipped. One tweet with over 250K likes read, "If that's really him talking, it's over." Family betrayal is the worst kind. Inside the family, things reportedly got ugly. According to someone close to the situation, Durk's Aunt Denise, a longtime matriarch figure, called an emergency family meeting at her house on the south side. She wanted answers, the source said. She told everyone, "Y'all better speak now before this family burns down from the inside." Witnesses say Durk didn't speak much during the meeting. He sat quietly, hood up, listening as cousins, uncles, and siblings argued. Some swore up and down that nobody flipped. Others cast suspicious glances at Keon, who avoided eye contact all night. At one point, D-Thang Jr. reportedly slammed his hand on the table and shouted, "Somebody in this room talked." The room went silent. The atmosphere was pure tension. Nobody trusted anybody. What made it worse was the fact that the prosecution hadn't named the cooperator yet, which meant the family was essentially tearing itself apart in the dark. Everyone knew someone had talked, but nobody knew who. Meanwhile, the industry was watching closely. According to insiders, two major brands that had pending partnership deals with Durk quietly hit pause. One label exec was overheard saying, "We can't afford to attach our name to this mess until we know who's involved." A major fashion collab was reportedly postponed indefinitely. Behind the scenes, even some of OTF's close affiliates were distancing themselves online. A couple of mid-level rappers unfollowed Durk on Instagram. One producer who had worked with OTF for years posted a cryptic tweet, "When the lights go out, that's when you see who's really in your corner." Fans instantly interpreted it as a shot. The gossip cycle didn't stop. A notorious YouTube channel dropped a documentary within 24 hours, piecing together courtroom footage, leaked audio, and Instagram posts to reveal that Keon was the alleged snitch. It had dramatic music, highlighted screenshots, and freeze frames of him leaving the courthouse. Even though it was pure speculation, the video racked up millions of views overnight. Keon, for his part, went live on Instagram late that night, visibly stressed. "Y'all gotta stop playing with my name," he said. "Ain't nobody cooperating. Y'all believe anything y'all see online." But instead of calming things down, the live only made it worse. Comment sections were flooded with rat emojis, accusations, and side-by-side clips comparing his voice to the leaked audio. Even worse, someone screen-recorded his love and slowed it down, claiming he hesitated too much before answering. "Guilty hesitation," one user wrote. "He shook." Others defended him, saying, "He's just nervous because the internet wilded him." While the family and fans were busy tearing each other apart, prosecutors sat back silently. No denials, no clarifications, just silence, which of course only made the theories grow. 2 days later, a sealed motion mysteriously leaked to a gossip blog. It claimed that protective measures were being taken for a cooperating witness due to escalating online threats. That line alone was enough to reignite the frenzy. If Keon wasn't the cooperator, why was the language so specific? Who else could it be? Meanwhile, Lil Durk still said nothing. No tweets, no lives, just cold silence. But people around him noticed changes. Durk, usually surrounded by a massive crew, started moving with a smaller circle. A source close to him said, "He's cutting off access. He doesn't know who to trust anymore." At a studio session days later, a leaked snippet captured Durk rapping a few angry bars that fans quickly interpreted as aimed at the snitch. The lyrics weren't explicit, but lines like, "Blood ain't thicker when it runs cold, and you talk to them. I'll talk to God," became instant trending quotes. Inside the camp, alliances were shifting. Some family members sided with Keon, saying he was being unfairly targeted. Others quietly believed he'd flipped. Dathan Jr. was reportedly the loudest voice demanding answers, while Aunt Denise tried to keep everyone from imploding publicly. But the damage was done. The unity that once defined OTF and Durk's bloodline was fracturing in real time, right in front of the world. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get any worse, a new legal update dropped. Prosecutors plan to introduce portions of the cooperating individual's statement at the next pretrial hearing. The statement wouldn't name the cooperator publicly, but snippets would be read aloud. This meant that in the next courtroom session, everyone would hear exactly what the insider said, even if they didn't know who it was. And that revelation had the potential to blow the entire situation wide open. As the date of that hearing approached, media outlets began preparing like it was a major sporting event. Fans picked sides. Some believed Durk would fight through it. Others said this was the beginning of the end. And inside the family, whispers grew louder, trust grew thinner, and the sense of betrayal deepened. The day of the next pretrial hearing felt less like a court date and more like the build-up to a heavyweight title fight. Outside the courthouse, news vans lined the street. Fans gathered with signs and phones ready to stream. Reporters whispered about what was expected to happen inside. Prosecutors were going to reveal portions of the insider's statement. The first time the world would hear exactly what this mysterious family member supposedly told them. When Lil Durk arrived, escorted by his legal team and a noticeably smaller entourage than usual, the energy was different. He wasn't smiling, wasn't acknowledging anyone. Hood up, head down, he walked past the cameras without a glance. A clip of his arrival hit social media minutes later, captioned, "Durk looking like he ready for war. Looking like he ready for war." The courtroom exploded. Audible gasps, shouts, even a few curses filled the air. The judge slammed the gavel repeatedly, shouting for order. Someone in the gallery yelled, "He lyin'." Another voice screamed, "Snitch!" Security moved in fast to quiet the crowd. Lil Durk didn't react outwardly, but those sitting close to him noticed his fists clenched so tightly that his knuckles turned white. His lawyer, Marcus Hill, immediately objected, calling the statement unsubstantiated hearsay and demanding that the court strike it from the record. The judge denied the motion but reminded the jury pool that these were only allegations, not evidence, but outside the legal walls, the damage was already done. The moment the prosecutor read that statement, dozens of journalists rushed to tweet it word for word. Within minutes, cooperation statement was trending across Twitter and TikTok. Fan pages uploaded courtroom sketches, conspiracy channels posted breakdown videos, and within hours, YouTube was flooded with "What this means for Lil Durk" thumbnails. The streets reacted even faster. A well-known Chicago blogger went live on Instagram claiming, "Y'all heard the statement. Ain't no way that came from outside." Somebody who knows was talking. That's why it hit different. His leave racked up 60K viewers in 20 minutes. Meanwhile, inside the family, all hell broke loose. Aunt Denise, who had been trying to hold everyone together, reportedly broke down crying in private after the hearing. She told a close friend, "I raised these kids together, and now someone's tearing the whole thing apart." Back at the house, tensions between Keon and D-Thang Jr. finally boiled over. Multiple sources say a heated argument broke out, with D-Thang Jr. accusing Keon to his face, "You the only one who could have known those details." Keon fired back, "You think I'd do that to him? To us?" Voices escalated, cousins intervened, and eventually someone had to physically pull them apart before things got violent at the same time. Prosecutors quietly filed a protective order citing online threats toward the cooperating witness, further confirming that someone close was indeed working with them. That document, once it leaked, turned the entire situation into a circus. The internet didn't need a name anymore. They decided it had to be Keon. Rat emojis flooded his Instagram. His DMs were reportedly flooded with thousands of messages, threats, insults, accusations. He tried going live again, but this time he was visibly shaken, voice cracking. "Y'all don't even know the truth. This internet stuff gonna get somebody hurt. Y'all blaming me for something I didn't do." But public opinion had already made up its mind. And that's when the industry stepped in. A major sneaker brand that had a summer campaign lined up with Durk quietly pulled out. "We can't move forward while this case unfolds," their spokesperson told a gossip outlet. A festival promoter rumored to have booked Durk for a headlining spot announced scheduling changes that conveniently removed his name from the lineup. Meanwhile, other rappers started chiming in subtly. One posted, "Loyalty don't exist no more. Just paperwork." Another dropped the cryptic line, "Keep your circle tight. Family included." Screenshots of these posts circulated widely, with fans connecting dots that may or may not have been there. Back in the courtroom, Marcus Hill held a fiery press conference outside the courthouse. "What you heard today was one-sided and manipulated. We will expose the truth. We will expose this so-called cooperating witness for what they are: unreliable, self-serving, and desperate," he told reporters, his voice echoing through the street. Durk stood beside him, hood up, face unreadable. When a reporter shouted, "Durk, do you know who flipped?" he paused for just a moment, stared dead at the cameras, then walked away without a word. That 3-second clip became a viral meme and was replayed millions of times online. Behind the scenes, the situation became almost unbearable. Durk's team reportedly installed tighter security protocols. Visitors to the house were screened. Studio sessions were limited to a handful of trusted faces. "He moving like the feds watching everyone," one insider said. "He don't trust nobody right now." Not even family. Fans began theorizing about the real identity of the insider. Some argued it couldn't be Keon, that it was a different cousin or extended family member who hadn't been seen in court. Others believed it was all part of a prosecutor's strategy to break Durk's inner circle from the inside. Conspiracy threads on Reddit got hundreds of thousands of views overnight, dissecting old family photos, lyrics, and interviews for clues. And then came the biggest twist of all. An anonymous source claiming to be close to the case leaked to a street blog that the cooperating family member had allegedly signed a deal for reduced charges in exchange for testimony. The deal reportedly included relocation and protection. This bombshell was never confirmed officially, but it didn't have to be. It spread everywhere. The idea that someone from Durk's own bloodline might not only be cooperating, but actively preparing to take the stand against him was almost too much for fans to process. "This ain't no regular betrayal," one tweet read. "This is Shakespeare-level backstabbing. Inside OTF, loyalties fractured. Some members backed Durk blindly, others quietly withdrew from the spotlight." A former associate gave an interview to a podcast saying, "When the feds come knocking, everybody ain't built the same. Some talk, some run, some fold." The host asked if he was referring to Durk's family. The associate just smiled and said, "I ain't saying no names, but y'all see what's happening." The hearing ended without naming the cooperator, but that didn't matter anymore. The betrayal was real. The statement was real. The courtroom eruption, the family implosion, the industry recoil, it all pointed to one thing. Durk's inner circle had been breached. And as the legal process moved forward, one thing became clear to everyone watching. This wasn't just a case anymore. This was a war between loyalty and survival, played out on the biggest stage possible. And that right there is where the story hits a level nobody saw coming. Loyalty, family, survival, it's all colliding inside and outside that courtroom. What started as whispers has turned into a full-blown legal earthquake. A family member cooperating, explosive statements being read in court, the industry backing away, fans choosing sides. This isn't just another rap headline. This is the kind of betrayal that rewrites everything around Lil Durk and OTF. The courtroom may have gone silent after the gavel hit, but the noise outside hasn't stopped for a second. Every lyric, every leaked clip, every suspicious look between family members is now being dissected like evidence in a trial that the whole world is watching. Is this just strategic prosecution? Or did someone close to Durk really fold under pressure? And more importantly, what happens next? Will the identity of the insider finally be revealed in open court? Will Durk's team be able to discredit the testimony? Or are we looking at the most shocking betrayal in modern rap history? One thing's for sure, this story isn't cooling down anytime soon. It's just getting started. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Did someone in Durk's bloodline actually flip? Or is this a calculated move to break his camp from the inside? Who's telling the truth? And who's playing the game? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this case is turning into the ultimate loyalty test. And if you want every twist, every leak, and every courtroom bombshell the second it happens, you already know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. Because when the next chapter drops, it's going to shake the culture again. Stay locked in. This is far from over. This is far from over.